Hey, yo, what's poppin'? Long time no see. I feel like I
Right?
am back in the house today on this Good Friday with Trevor Berryhill. Hey, what's going on, Trevor?
Not much. Just work. Always work.
Always work, always work. What you been working on?
Lately, I've been comparing the state and city budgets to other comparable sized cities and where they're getting their money from, how they're doing it, and seeing where Flint either excels or more often than not is lacking.
Okay, okay.
Um, so, Las Cruces, I took a look. They have roughly about the same police budget as we do, about 28 million,
Mhm.
but less than half their police budget actually comes from the state.
Where's it come from?
Grants, and then they have ways of making money in cities. So visiting their zoos or their parks, or the fines that they actually take from speeding fines, things like that, actually goes toward the police department. Whereas here, I think I wrote it down. Yeah, our fines and forfeitures in the city of Flint comes out to about 75,000 a year for our general fund. With as often as they're pulling people over, why is it only 75,000?
See, people pull it over all the time. You right?
Yeah, and
All
it's
the time.
and if you take a look at the fees and fines that you actually get, 10 miles over, you're paying 100, 200 bucks.
Yeah,
Where's that money going? And why isn't it going back into our police department?
right. Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's been my day so far today. Just looking
Okay.
at things like that, breaking things down, such as Michigan State Police catch about half a billion a year from the state budget. But if we take a look at the Arizona, the state troopers, they're a little bit under. I think yeah, I wrote here 200 plus million,
Okay.
and they've got a lot more to deal with than us up here in Michigan. Then
Yeah.
again, we're using them as regular police officers in our cities.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So today, Trevor, no, you good. So today, I I really want to focus on like just state rep stuff.
Hmm.
Usually we get
We
into
get lost in the weeds.
segue into some stuff. Because some things are rabbit holes, right? And it just
Yep.
leads to other things. So I'm gonna try for us to stay right here in our box.
Got you. We'll stay in our lane today. I promise. Well,
Yeah.
I promise I will try.
Hey T, hey Winters, hey Mom. So we're gonna try to do that. So with that being said, I'm glad you kind of brought up the police. So I just kind of want to get into some like deeper questions, some more tackle some stuff that we hadn't. Um, as it relates to the state rep part of it, state legislation, state laws, like not going down into the too much into. I mean, some of the stuff for the city it will relate, but for the most
Yeah.
part, you know,
I
going
mean, a lot of it is I'm representing the city at the state level, so we
correct,
have to take a look at it like that.
absolutely. So I want to do that. So
Okay.
my first question is, um, in relation to the John Fleming incident, which was like was police brutality, right? And
Hmm.
that's the thing that's going on right now. What? How can we, or how can you, at your level, enhance police accountability?
Well, first you have to have DAs that are willing to prosecute police brutality. You actually have to take a look at, was this overboard? Yes. Okay, am I going to charge the officer? And a lot of times they say no.
Hmm.
You need a DA with some guts. Then the bigger issue should be looking at preventing it in the first place. We have to give them better training. When I was in the Army, we had strict rules of engagement. If I got shot at by someone and then situation or circumstances changed, now I see him again, I can't just shoot him. That's what happened there. Gentleman got out of the car. Situation changed, right? And then the police shot him.
So John Fleming was here in Flint.
Oh, that one. Then I don't know. I was going off the bigger
So
national news.
yeah, no. But even international, no, I'm good with that as well because it happens here too, right? So,
Hmm.
so what happened here was allegedly John Fleming was shopping in Walmart and he got accused of stealing some items, right? He was on public transportation, so he leaves out of Walmart and he gets on to the city bus, and the police go to that bus, stop the bus, and get on the bus and proceed to snatch him and pull him off of the bus. Um, I don't know all the logistics of all the things that were said. However, from my understanding, he was holding on to pole or something, and they were kind of hitting his hands and dragging him out, and they drug him out of the bus, put him in the back of the vehicle, took him to the police station. Upon further investigation or looking at the receipt and his items, from my understanding, is that um, he did not steal anything, right? And then when he did not, they said, "Oh, our bad,
All right.
now," right? And
So
then so it
when
happened
is
twice.
when is it Walmart? What was he accused of stealing? I've
Mm,
Walmart usually doesn't call the cops unless you're stealing over $2,000,
I don't
a
know.
large ticket. So if this gentleman has got enough just to get on a bus, that's all he's got. Walmart usually doesn't call.
So
So this is just weird from the outset. And then stopping a bus public transit is odd. I I don't know what to say about this one, Miss Tara.
yeah, so
But
it continues. It goes a little further.
oh god.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
So after that, he didn't. He went to. Is Marty Berryhill your father?
Yeah, that's Pop.
Well, hey, Dad, how you doing? And so, hi, Derek, how are you? And Christine, and Kathleen, hello to everybody. So he, after he was released from the police station, or I'm sorry, I kind of got this a little. It's a little sketchy for me right here. I don't know.
Hmm.
He said that he wanted. Hey, I've been assaulted. I want to go to the hospital, right?
Okay.
So he goes to the hospital, and because he has said he's been assaulted, they want to call the police in there to take his statement or whatever. He's like, I don't want any more police in here. No, 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 no. I just got assaulted by the police. No, 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 no. And so they're saying that he's elevated, right? He's up in arms. And so the police are in there like, hey, I don't know if they're like, hey, calm down or what happens. And so allegedly he gets attacked again at the hospital. Yeah. So that's what that whole so I know you're probably not putting two and two together. That is the one that Jaleel has been talking about going to about the John Fleming and the Kiera how it was a
Okay.
early case. So I know you're probably not putting two and two together, but those
I'm still just trying to connect all these dots and
yep, that's the connection.
why the cop.
And
Okay.
so now
No, we still need better training though. Your first response should never be to put your hands on a person, especially when you're in a position of trust as a cop. People expect you to protect and serve. Granted, the courts have said it's not really a cop's job to protect you. You've got two federal courts and the Supreme Court decisions saying cops don't have to do that. It's just uphold the law. But it's what's expected of them anyway.
mm-hmm,
And a lot of people lose trust when a police officer lays hands on people and it becomes news.
mm-hmm,
I mean, how are you supposed to tell your kids if you're in trouble, go see this officer? You flag down a cop car.
mm-hmm.
And nowadays, the cop's probably going to throw you in cuffs. You know?
So how do you propose that we get this better training? What do you suggest that we well not even suggest, but if in fact you get into this position, what would you or could you do in order to make sure that that happens on this level?
So our academies, police academies, are run by the state. State sets the guidelines. We have to bring back the aggression there. We have to teach these officers how to communicate better, how to dis- disarm and defuse conflicts in situations better using just their words.
Hmm.
At no point at the beginning of a discussion should an officer be reaching for you, and they shouldn't have their hands next to their belt, because what's on their belt? Their taser, their gun, their cuffs, anything and everything that's used to intimidate. They shouldn't be using intimidation tactics. They should be using people skills.
So is that
And
something that you would like to implement here, like going forward?
yes, because this is a problem. It's been a problem.
Very.
It's been a problem for too long.
Hmm.
If you let a problem fester, it's just going to get infected and get worse, right?
Yeah. So if in fact you did get into this position, who and how would you implement that?
So
Who
you
are
can
you going with and working with, and how would you implement that?
so you can do legislation, which is always iffy. The better part would be to take your police instructors, put them through HR courses, and then have them teach that HR, that human resources, to the officers coming through, as well as communication skills. And then, in terms of prosecution of officers who do violate those boundaries, you actually have to hold your DAs accountable.
So I remember even from being younger, like all the police officers back in the day were like people from our area, from their neighborhoods, and that. Do you think that that's what we should go back to? That you police your own neighborhoods, like you have to live in that area to police it? Because I think a lot of the problem is that people that are policing in these areas are not used to certain classes
That
of
does
people and certain um colors of people and everything. Like, even as much as people don't want to make it a color line, there is definitely a color line.
it does have its pros and cons. So an officer that looks like you or looks like me approaches me, there's a little bit of tension eased off, right? At the same time, if it's someone you grew up with down the street, then you've got a little bit of nepotism, favoritism, that things may fly under the radar that don't need to. It would be nice to see a mix. Officer from neighborhood A is going with officer neighborhood B into neighborhood B. That way you get a nice balance.
Do you think that it would be that way? Because I don't necessarily think that it would be that, just because Jimmy from down the street, you would be more lenient on him. Because what if he was a terror as a kid and now he's an adult? You get what I'm saying? I mean, it
I
could be
I
right
get it.
both
It's
ways.
just
However, I think that it could be, it may be easier to even deal with people when you know the situation in the community, right? Because if you are coming from
that's just me being me with my cynicism.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm asking that. And then and what's so funny is that your dad just said something that I was just ready to say. And
Use the funding as a club.
no, no, no.
Oh,
That the police have to start policing themselves as well,
yes,
and start
and
covering
stop
up for
covering.
each other, because that is a problem, and it's been a problem for a long time, and that keeps happening. You
That's a
know,
discussion he and I have very often. Whenever something pops up on the news, because he was 20 years Navy, I was 10 years Army, and the rule was always please your buddies.
mm,
And we don't see that very often with cops.
yeah,
It's that fraternal brotherhood that don't 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 ruin your buddy's career or his life, or well, he's ruining other people's. You need
yeah,
to fix it, and it reflects on you.
yeah,
Everyone who wears that uniform, wears that badge, it reflects on all of them.
yeah.
So one bad apple is ruining the batch.
That's very, very true. Okay. So, I know that you talk about schools a lot.
Yes.
And um, we have an we have an issue, because we don't have any. I know you are an advocate of charter schools.
Yes.
However, for the most part, we, growing up and playing our products of public schools.
Hmm.
which worked for us, and they were really good. And we were Flint was a model for public schools at one time. How do you propose? What's your plan into getting us back to that point and having more of public schools as opposed to charter schools?
So when the population here decreased, they decided we're going to cut funding and we're going to cut some of those schools. I think that was a missed opportunity. I'd like to work with the school board, see how much it'd take for the state to give them to open up a few of those schools again and start spreading our kids out more. Because when you have less students in a classroom, it's easier for them to get that one-on-one attention they need to actually excel. Uh, I also want to cut waste, and I want to find ways to do that. I've had thought of one thing instead of giving kids MacBooks, because you can always just hit Alt Tab and go on to your next tab and do something while the teacher's talking at the front of the room. Tablets or just a program on the computer where the teacher controls everything that the student is seeing, even highlighting things for future tests.
Hmm.
Get textbooks out of the room, because a textbook this big filled with all sorts of paper and stuff, number one, the second it's published, it's already out of date and you have to get a new one a few years from now. Number two, those trees that you're cutting down and all the printing you're doing cost money, whereas digital does not, or at least not as much. So by cutting wasteful spending, replacing it with something gainful, I think it actually help balance out our schools' budgets. And then it would allow Flint to open up those other schools that they've shut down and start helping our students excel just with one-on-one training or a little bit one-on-one time with their teachers. Instead of a class of 30 students, you can get it down to 20 or 17 or hopefully lower.
So we had this issue though with us not having schools or schools shutting down even prior to the population decrease though.
I think that's just the state not wanting to put money into Flint, which is wrong. It needs to come back. There's people here that need the help, that need the education. Flint is dying. And without a reason to stay here, without a proper foundation, which starts with education, people don't want to move their businesses in here.
So do you think that there should be a cap on charter schools?
A cap, no, but I think that the public schools should definitely be competitive, that we should help the public schools be competitive
Competitive how?
in terms of the attention your child is getting or the way that your child's being taught. I had my youngest in public school for 8 years, 9 years, and she wasn't doing so well. I put her into a charter school and she's back with her peers. I want to see that sort of performance coming from our public schools as well.
So do you think that it is just a lack of that, or is it, or could it be it's just the lack of um payment? Because like
I think it is a bit of both.
you, I mean, you kind of get what you pay for. Like, would you
Yeah,
support into like restoring like the master's pack?
uh, you're gonna have to explain that one to me.
So like, so I know that some schools, even like when you had a master's degree, you got paid. You got paid for having
Oh,
a master's degree.
yeah. If you're better equipped to be an educator and you put that much time into it, you need to be compensated for it. That comes with student loans. And if you're just sitting there living off of pennies a month, you might want to move on to something else. I want to see those people who are better equipped get better compensated so they stay, so they educate our kids.
So I don't know. I personally am not an advocate of charter schools. I think that public schools should be a thing. I mean, we
To
are,
each their own.
yeah, absolutely. And for the most part in the city of Flint, they are very much advocates of public schools. And I think that they want to see them back prospering, and they want to see them back. They want to see schools built and not just charter schools. I I I mean, that's where we're at. That's where we have been at, and that's what really worked. And if we continue to just take it out and do something else, people don't want that, and they're moving to other places with other public schools and not just the
So
charter. But the thing about it is that The charter schools aren't the greatest either. Somewhere here,
No.
they're not the greatest either. So I don't think it's definitely charter school is definitely is not the answer. I personally don't think, but
So
um,
charter schools just teach in a different way, and that works for some kids. It doesn't for others. I want our public schools to be robust enough to be able to teach and teach well. It's just some students may need a charter school, which is just fine. You know, however you learn, however you get the education you need to go on further in life, then get it. Make your parents, please make sure your kids are going to get it. That's what I had to do with my youngest. My oldest is still in public school. I'm very proud of her. It's just how things work. Not everyone's the same, and doing an assembly line sort of education hasn't worked for some students.
mm, okay. So just again. So I don't know if you guys had heard me when I first started. I don't know how many are on here. I'm trying to stay on topic. So the questions that I'm asking and questions that you are asking in relation to the topic, I will read it. Not saying that I won't read the other questions. I will. I'll get to it as we get to it. But um, I'm just trying to stay on topic with the questions that's asked. And Chia Morgan said, "Hi Chia, thanks for watching." She said, "With all due respect, this shows a lack of knowledge for Flint to think that the state was the initial reason for this, that the school started closing." And she said the charter schools are crippling our children. Um, to each their own, but if you're asking for our vote, so our voices and demands matter um, in relation to the schools. Um,
Hmm.
Michael Clack said, as an educator who has worked for charter schools, they're trash. Um,
Okay.
so um, Terrence, we will get to the water. Again, I'm trying to ask questions at the state level, not necessarily the city level, but we will get to the water. I see your questions. You don't have to put them in text. I promise I will get to it as it relates to that. Right now, I'm talking about schools. So if you have a question about the school, please throw it up and I'll ask that. But I do see it about the water and I will get to it. Um, yeah. So um, Tony Wiggins said, currently, what are Flint school students in the tenth? What are Flint school students in the 10th grade? What are their reading levels as of 2022, and what is the reading levels of a sophomore in high school for a Flint student in 2022? I don't even know that, Tony. I can even tell you.
I think last time I looked, it was sub seventh grade reading level.
Uh, okay. My mother said, if my tax dollars are going to be for public schools, they should be held accountable and responsible for teaching our children. Michael Clark said, yes, that number is too low. I agree that it is too low. Um,
Hmm.
we
And you should be
something.
advocating for your tax dollars if they're going into public schools to teach your children. And yes, I agree. I just think that there should also be an alternative, not not the main. Charter schools being off on the side as a satellite, as a small minority of the schools in the area, is what I want. And I do want public schools to be robust and brought back up to snuff. It's just periodically some students do need an alternative form of education. I don't think that's all students.
What do you think the curriculum should look like?
We need to focus more on our cores, our math, our language arts, reading, writing. As Mr. Clack just said, cursive, because you and I could sit here and write a note in cursive, and I know my kids wouldn't understand it. We need to get back into our sciences and our civics, our history, but we also need things on the side. We need electives like home ec, that's actual home economics, not just how to cook, a few small meals here and there, but how to balance your budget. I did see recently that Michigan is now teaching our children finances, which is great. I'm really excited for that. We also need to teach them minor automotive maintenance, how to change your tire on the side of the road instead of calling AAA every time, or even how to repair parts of your house. We need life skills in our schools.
So would you is that one of the things that you would do as far as like what how would you implement that on your level, on the state level?
On the state level, you've got your state board of education, which falls underneath the governor, but they do have a committee for education in schools, and that can put forth suggestions and recommendations to the state board of education. The state board, though, does have to follow the federal guidelines, and then the cities and your local school districts can pick and choose from there. Usually, if they don't take something that either the state or the federal want, then they'll get hit with the funding bat. So, in terms of twisting their arm to get it done, you just have to withhold funding, and that's not something I'm really big on because our schools are already hurting here. We have to come to an agreement, sit down, talk with them about it, talk to our school boards and our educators,
What do
and
you
that's
What do you think a teacher's salary should be?
a teacher's salary. I like to see it 65 plus
Do you
because
know?
they're getting paid 50 something now, right?
Oh, I don't know. Is that
Mr. Clack, I think, would know better than I would, but I
like
think national average.
what's the teacher's salary in Michigan or in Flint? Like what's the teacher's salary? He said hell no. So
Hell
I'm
no.
that it's not 55, maybe but
God, if it's sub that, then it's disgusting. No, it needs to be 65. We need to really incentivize people to want to be teachers and not leave. And you do that financially. Helping with student loans is a big thing. And then making sure that they can live a nice, comfortable life off of the income they're getting. Because a lot of those teachers are taking their own resources and putting it back into their classrooms still.
Quack said 39,000.
Yeah, no. We need to bring that up quite a bit. I mean, you're spending at very least 4 years in college, right? And then you've got years of subbing, and then years of just being in the classroom with a teacher, kind of a internship. And then you've got to deal with, if you're going from kindergarten to 7th, 8th grade, screaming kids all day, and then you go into high school as a teacher and you've got hormonal teenagers that are either angry all the time, and you've got your principal breathing down your neck and the superintendent and the school board breathing down your neck. That's a lot of stress for only $39,000 a year.
You can't live like that. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to live like that. 39,000. Excuse me,
Yeah.
$39,000 a year. It's hard to live like that, especially now with gas prices as they are. How do you? How can that even compare?
Like, you're wasting half your income just to get to work every year with the gas prices the way they are now. And then you got to somehow try to feed yourself.
Yeah, and that's rough. That's rough. That's tough. Um, I don't even. I don't even. I don't even know how that.
Then I saw someone in your chat say trade schools. Yes. Not everyone is built for traditional college. And while you're going to traditional college, you're taking up student loans, you're taking time. Whereas you go to a trade school, you are in and out inside a year, sometimes two, and then you're on the job force and you're getting paid well. And let's take a look at Michigan. Michigan's a very union-friendly state, and you are going to be employed gainfully quickly, and you're going to have the protections. I think a lot of people are missing opportunities not going to trade schools. I think that's something you and I spoke about last time, right? Left-handed welding.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so I'm gonna segue because
Okay.
somebody is yelling at me in all caps about the water, which I was gonna get there. However, the water is not clean. The water is
No.
not fixed.
No.
We still have a problem no matter what Mayor Sheldon Neely says. The water is still not fixed. We are 8.5 years in, and the water is still bad.
Yes.
Um,
I'm seeing that pop up all over my newsfeed. People with orangish, brownish water still.
yep. What on that level, on the state level, would be your plans to fix the water in Flint?
First off, I'd call in the EPA. I want to know what exactly is going on with the water. You have the most recent Lockhart chemical spill that's going into everything. I want to know what that's impacting, and after they do or while they're doing an environmental impact study, I want them to do a health impact study.
Mm-hmm.
Use that paperwork. I want the citizens of Flint to sue. Take the money from Lockhart. But once the state has the information in hand as well, then we can give guidelines as to you have failed here, here, and here. We can appoint someone to make sure you get this done, get it done properly, get it done quickly. And if you don't, we can press charges.
So is that something that you plan on doing if you get into this position? Is to get all of that needed to make to?
I've already started talking to people about calling the EPA.
Okay.
That isn't something I had to get elected for.
What about the shit? What else did you say? What the hell? I just drew a blank. Oh, about prosecuting them. Jesus, Mary.
Prosecuting, that one's going to fall on your DAs, but I believe the state legislature can request a prosecution and then a special prosecutor, someone that's not connected with the local area. Because for some reason, charges have been dropped lately against folks from the last water crisis. So we get a special prosecutor, someone that has no friends, someone that we can guarantee isn't going to show any favoritism or mess up some paperwork accidentally on purpose. And that needs to be priority. As state rep, yes, I'd push for that. And it has to be a special prosecutor. It cannot be someone local.
So, okay, is that something you will research too? On who the best prosecutor to do that?
Yes.
Have you looked into that?
That part I have not. I've been looking more at the settlement from the state actually for because that one was just absolute bull.
What would you do, or what could you do on a state level about the residents' pipes that have not been changed out and all of those things, all of that stuff?
The state,
be done.
We've talked about that one offline. So Northside 1900 pipes in houses have not been replaced yet.
Mm-hmm.
They've been saying that the water's clean since 2016, and yet we still have that issue. That's 6 years overdue. The state gave the city money for that. So the state has a horse in that race. The state can and should be calling in and saying, why is this taking so long? Why are you overdue? Why is this not done? And if it turns out that someone's sitting on their hands or they just don't care, then the state needs to prosecute, sue, take that money back, find another company that'll get it done.
Okay.
I mean, city council, I think, just extended the deadline again till November. But that's a city council thing. The state needs to come in, even if it means stepping on city council's toes.
So as it relates to the food desert that is going on on the north side of Flint, we talked about that. You actually got witnessing and all of those things. What is it on the state level that can happen that can benefit and be beneficial to the residents of the north side of Flint?
Honestly, there's nothing currently. What you can do is, because other cities are having this problem, this is a national problem. Since it's so well recognized nationally, it'd be fairly easy to set up a grant system to pay for a new building to go up fairly easy for like Walmart or neighborhood Walmart, Albertsons, what have you. And that could alleviate it, especially if you say, all right, within 5 miles of this general area, there is no grocery store. You put one up, we will help you get the land. We will help pay for a decent chunk of that building. And then going off of the economic plan that I want to put in to bring in businesses, they'd be getting another tax cut. It'd make it far more attractive to start building grocery stores up in the north side of Flint to alleviate that food desert.
So I think that all kind of goes hand in hand, right? We had all the grocery stores and the whole food that's going on the north side, all the
Hmm.
grocery stores being closed and all these things, and all of a sudden the water is bad and all of these things. Like it is for us, we would definitely and could say this is by design and it's in order to kick us out, move us out of there, right? And so I don't know if I don't know because you've only been here a few years, if you even realize that, but and we are all getting pushed out. So not only do we not have any grocery stores in this food desert, not only is the water bad, we can't drink the water, bathe in the water, anything is giving us all these problems. But we also now we don't have anywhere to live either.
Yep.
Everything is getting torn down. There were apartment buildings and
Hmm.
stores and um,
They're not taking care of the lots up there, and you have trees falling on people's houses.
absolutely something has to happen. We can't just keep putting all this money downtown. Something
Yes.
has to happen on the north
Oh,
side.
you heard what the state did with downtown, right?
Which part? Because Lord have mercy.
The state park.
Yes,
They spent $30.2 million on putting a state park down there.
correct. And that is another thing that we have. Well, I've been upset about. Is
That 30.2 million, if you want to help Flint, then you help Flint. You don't just make the downtown where hardly anyone lives pretty. It's not a tourist trap. Flint is a town full of working people. So how
so
about we make it livable? How about we start investing into these communities, into these small businesses with that 30.2 million? How about we start buying up some of the lots from the land bank, make it state owned, have the state do something with that land that benefits the people of Flint, the 87,000 people that live here.
we spent. So Terrence said we spend more time on the education plan than the water plan. What else would you like to see from this, Terrence? What else would you like us to say about the water plan? He said it before when he was on the show before. He said it now. Like what else would you like to see? I'm just curious. What else is more would you like to be done and or said about the water plan? I'm I'm just curious. Do you have anything else to say, Trevor? Like what else would you have planned on?
I So the state can't take over the city water plant. I would love to see
I was
that,
that.
but then the city loses control. Granted, the city hasn't done a great job, but then your voices have to go so much further to be heard. So bad water now, you can go yell at city council and yell at your candidates, and when we go up to Lansing, we can yell for you. But the only other big alternative would be the state takes over that water plant, and it takes so much longer for you to get heard. That's not what I'm looking for. I want you guys to be able to get things done locally more because the state has so many cities that all of them have their own types of problems and you just get lost in the sauce. And even with your state rep there and your state senator there, that's only two voices in a crowd of hundreds.
I I'm not slighting the water, of course, because I'm always saying the water is bad and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, with asking the questions that I asked were the ones that I personally knew that can happen on the state side of it. I don't know what else, Terrence. That's why I'm asking you. I'm not trying to be funny. That's why I'm asking you because I don't know what else can be done at the state level. So I don't know. I just was
Chia, I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, go for it.
Chia, reach across the aisle, I'm happy to do. I usually, normally, I identify as libertarian. I am more of a look at the individual, get government out of your life. So in my case, just running as a Republican, it was closer to my beliefs, but I'm willing to reach across, talk to Republicans, talk to Democrats. I want to talk with people more than a party, though. I want to talk with representatives from other cities, regardless of what's in front of their name. Does that answer your question?
Okay. I was looking
Sorry.
for a question. It kept scrolling. I was looking for it.
Yeah,
It
I
really-
guess we got an active chat tonight.
You're a Republican. How are you prepared to reach across the aisle and get it done? Oh, okay, I got it. She said, keep government out our lives. Keeping government out of our lives isn't realistic. Don't give me politically correct, please. Let's just talk. The vote is life
Okay,
or death for our city. Absolutely, Chia. You are absolutely right. It really is life or death for us.
but in all reality, I want to work with people, and in the way that I want to do it is less of this is a party's goal, this is a party's goal. I want to look at it as this is Flint's goal and go talk with someone from Saginaw, see what their goals are, see where we align, see where we can draw up a bill together and get it passed through. Get it passed, get it over to the Senate, let them get it passed, get it to the governor's desk, and get it signed into law. That's the way that I really want to get things done. So go from Saginaw, go to Lansing, talk to Ann Arbor, get all these larger cities with larger populations and more votes in that area to agree on something, where each of these cities gets something out of it.
So, um, if you are going to these places and you going to again reaching across the aisle or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, how do you how do you how do you get the people engaged with you? Because see, that's the thing, right? It's the you're gonna run into the Democrat Republican thing. You are going definitely gonna run into that.
Yes,
So how are you gonna bridge the gap? What are you gonna do?
I'm going to bring it in personally. Number one, if these people see that a bill was written up, or at least the people of these cities see that a bill was written up that would benefit their city, and their representative didn't vote for it just because of a party line, then it's very easy for them to get voted out. And I would make it personal. Do you want to get reelected? Do you want this job? Do you want to represent your people? Yes or no? Yes. Then here's how we do it. And there's always compromise. So, what do you need on this bill to get it through, to get your signature? What can we do to help the people of Flint or your people or third parties people in any of these cities? I'm not looking to spend a whole lot of frivolous money though on someone's pet project.
So I know that you are like you said in the beginning, you're researching some things and doing this and
Mm-hmm.
research for some stuff at the state level. However, I think for us in the city of Flint, we want to know and we want to hear about those things that are going to be happening in relation to us here, right? On
Yes.
the state level, right? So even just the talking to other people, and I get that. I understand you got to talk. You have to have the dialogue and everything like that. But I think in actuality, we want to hear the things that you are going to be implementing. Those things that's going to be like cut and dry. You don't have to talk to anybody about it. What are those things that you're gonna be putting down? What are those bills you're gonna be writing and passing, trying to get passed and putting down in relation to us here?
Okay. So the biggest thing that I have is economics, aside from schools. I want to bring businesses back here. And to do that, cut and dry, I want to take a look at what our state does compared to other states because we fall behind. No businesses want to move into here. Hell, we just lost a Kellogg factory in what is it, Battle Creek. They're moving away.
Mm-hmm.
So we bring our taxes back into line. We bring our incentives back into line with the most competitive states, and we bring them here. We make them want to move here. As to regards to Flint, we put provisions in the bill for population centers. Make them look at the population centers. You get a bigger tax cut. You get a bigger incentive if you move into Flint. And then you have city council on the back end give them even more incentives. In every single way, this is a business proposition, and you are doing your best to look pretty. We have to do it at the state level, we have to do it at the city level, and we have to do it at the county level. On the state level, I'm going to say, we will give you these things if you move here. We will give you these things if you come into this city here.
So I think that that's the design of things, right? I think that that's how this is going. So the history of Flint, you look at it, we've been a very robust city, right?
Hmm.
It has been the black population was very robust,
Hmm.
and it still is, right? Even from the
Hmm.
people that moved out in that. So I think
54% of the city, actually.
and for the most part, I think that and the people that are still here, and the people that are watching, and the people that are looking, and the people who are ready to do anything and ready to vote are still those black people. So what what's going to benefit us?
What's going to benefit black people?
Yep, black and brown people, people of color. What are you going to do that's going to be beneficial to us on this side? Because we and because we are pretty much the north side.
Yeah. I don't feel comfortable writing a bill just based on that. What I am looking for is the people who have been disenfranchised the most, which, yes, happens to be black and brown. I want to help bring that up. I want to help even that playing field and bringing more opportunity here. How that looks, that's an area where I need help in because I could say things all day long, but that's not a problem I've ever personally faced, right?
That's true. So the history of this seat that actually has been because it was the wait what district was it? It was the 34th district. Am I wrong? Wait, was it the 34th district, y'all? Help me out. And so now they changed it into the 70th district to add. Thank you to add burden into it, right? And so it was created for black people. I'm gonna tell
Hmm.
you, I'm gonna tell you, I'm being honest with you, and that's why
Yeah.
you're gonna get all the pushback. That's exactly why you're gonna continue to get all the pushback, and there's going to be all the questions about black people and brown people, and because that's what it was designed for the black people to have a voice, right?
Hmm.
So this seat that you're in is going to continue and always be until they move it out further and it continues to be integrated, right? Is going to be considered a black seat, and you are going to continue to get that pushback on that, right? I'm just being honest with
Yes.
you. So you're gonna continue to get the pushback on that. Like, what are you gonna do for the black and brown people?
And
What do you think?
that's fine.
Yeah.
Uh,
So in relation to that and how people are gonna ask you that, and that's why I'm asking you these questions, and I know they're getting harder. Remember, I told you they were gonna get a little bit harder. I know
you
it.
don't pull punches.
No, and it was gonna be a little sweet, but I was gonna get into it. But it is definitely going to be that. And regardless of how we don't, you may not want to draw the color line. It just is what it is. And so the people that want to know, and most of them are pretty much on the north side, on the south side. And like I said, this is just it just is what it is. The black city,
Hmm.
right? And so we want to know how is it going to be beneficial to us? Because what it is that we feel and we see that we are being pushed out. The water's bad. We don't have any grocery stores. We don't have anything
Hmm.
there. They're not allowing us to build. They're not allowing us to do anything as it relates to that. So we are being pushed out and it's going to be gentrified. So if we're talking about gentrification and all these things, the businesses are going to come here because that's by design and that's what's going to happen. What what are you going to put down that's going to be in place to protect us, to keep us here, so that we can be here? Zoning laws. How can we
Your
do that?
zoning does fall into the city, though, doesn't
It
it?
does. No, that's what I'm saying. It zoning laws. We talk about that with the city and that, but there are things that can happen on the state level, right? And so with
Okay.
those things on the state level, that's where we're at. We just we just want to know because it's our vote, it's our seat, and we
Yeah.
just want to know how we are going to be protected, how we going to be able to continue to live the life that we want to live here in this city and bring it back, right? Even from the state level, because that state level is a representation for us,
Hmm.
and that's how the seat was designed. I don't know if you knew that, but that's how the seat was designed.
I believe when you took me around town and you took me to Mr. Mays, he mentioned that
But yeah,
right when we were looking at that house fire.
yeah. So that's 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 pretty much like the nitty gritty into it and what they want to know and what we all want to know because we don't want to be pushed out from this side. This is what we love. This is what we want. This is what we want to see prosper again and do better.
Okay. In terms of that, we can have these businesses set up on the outside of town, find land there, but still have them employ people from Flint. That way, they're not pushing into Flint, and taking over living space. That can be a provision put into a bill. Set aside a plot of land, even if the state has to buy that plot of land and sell it to them at a discounted price. Then you don't have losing homes or space to build. In terms of your zoning laws, we can do a bit at the state level, not very much. We can put financial pressure on city council and on the mayor. We can start to investigate financials to see if they're taking kickbacks to keep it that way and threaten them with that. Oftentimes, the threat is actually more effective than the actual investigation.
I'm
I
sorry.
did see.
I was listening, but I was looking at the
Oh, Chia.
I missed.
Yeah, I see a few here. There's one thing that I wanted to address to Miss Chia again. I do believe that's Miss Chia. It's not punches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I mean is she's not treating me like a child.
To sit at the table with uncomfortable questions and make it happen. She also just asked, how do you feel about the budget Senator Ananek just sent to the governor's desk for Flint?
I haven't seen it yet.
What is the budget, Chia? He said he hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, I can pull it up. Luckily, this is virtual, right?
Yeah. So my mom said, "You want our vote? What are you gonna do us for? Because nothing has been done for us yet." So yeah, again, these are. Did he speak about abortion? No, I didn't ask anything about abortion.
We talked about it last time.
I did see your question about the water and did he think it was safe? And no, he did not.
We spoke about abortion last time, and I'll reiterate what I said. I'm not for a full ban. Currently, you have a law in the books from 1934 and 1937, something like that, that outlaws abortion, period, end of story, including post contraceptives. So your Plan B. I want to see that revisited. My personal view is 4 months. Plan B is open. Once the baby starts to develop more into a person that can actually feel and things like that, I consider it a baby. Before that, then clump of cells. And I will not receive a lot of love from my own party, from the Republican side, because I just said that, actually. But I'm not for a full abortion or a full abortion ban.
So, as for the budget,
yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. Senator Aniak budget. Of course, DuckDuckGo is going to run me around. Major funds for Flint and state budget. This was produced in 2021. Is this what you're talking about?
We just proposed a new budget.
Of course, DuckDuckGo. Let me put in 2022 on there then. Fiscal year 23 budget proposal.
You said you like that, Chia? You like this answer about abortion?
Thank you, Arthur, for correcting me on that date, by the way.
The budget was this week, yeah.
Yeah, I got February 9th. Nope, I can't find it on DuckDuckGo, of course. Let me go to Google.
So, okay, Chia. I thought that's what you meant, Chia. I was just wanting to get some clarification because it scrolled so fast. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. So, thank you for answering that. Yeah, I kind of want to give him a chance to see the budget.
I can answer and look at the same time. I'm halfway decent. More news. Subscribe to newsletter. I don't care about a newsletter. Let me actually see it, please. Deal reached on state budget. Flint area expected to receive 10 million. How did he do it? While I'm looking at this, what else do we have? Gun involved in violence elimination. 3 million to Genesee County Sheriff's Department funding provide equipment, personnel, and training focused on reducing shootings and homicide. Okay, I want to know how they're looking at that.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the organizations. Tia, thank you for putting it up there. And she just said it was like 500,000 to a few organizations. Thank
Yeah,
you.
the gun involved violence elimination is Give. Then we've got Hamilton Community Network or Health Network, which threw on that. That was when you took me to that theater. Those were the ones doing that
Mhm.
get together. Comprehensive quality insight. Redevelop former GM headquarters into an inpatient behavioral health city or facility. That's awesome. I wonder if they'll serve firefighters for cheap or free. Um, okay, so I see what's going on here. I have no complaints. This looks actually really good, and I want to know how he got all of this. Inmate growth naturally internally through education ignite. Okay, so Genesee County inmates can come out with a skill, trade, or GED. That's good. It keeps them from going back. Boys and Girls Club, crossover outreach. Wow. Okay. What do I think about it? I like it. Now, do you have any more specific parts to it?
What do you like about it?
So, Boys and Girls Club, obviously, the behavioral health facility, 2.5 million to convert that an old building that's not being used, like everyone's been talking about around here. We've got all these old, large buildings that just aren't being used, and this is being turned into something for the community, something that this community desperately needs. Foster care placement. I just like all this money going to organizations that are community oriented for Flint. And this is quite a bit of money. This is going to help so many people.
Have you looked into? Have you even researched any of those organizations? Do you know anything about any of those
I've
organizations?
talked to a few of them. I haven't talked to Ignite. I've no one from Give has talked to me, but I'm a Republican, so they probably think that anything to do with guns is off the table with me.
So
I
I
mean,
so I have a quick question for Chia because I know Chia does deals with a lot of organizations and that. Chia, are those organizations ones that you like? Wentis, same with you. Are those CLAC? Are those organizations that you all like and think that should have a hand in that pot?
I think Mr. Clack would probably like the Burson Fieldhouse. 500,000 for recreational and educational civic engagement opportunities for youth and adults. Pop the individual organizations. This money is already earmarked to go to them.
Okay. She said overall, yes, the organizations. Those are great organizations. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Winters, do you agree as well? Um, I'm all so I'm in and out. Okay, my bad. Go to do your shopping. I'm sorry.
I saw that.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. So, so how do you feel, and what do you feel about? So we have wait. The only one I have a gripe with, but they will use the funds to be better. Okay, okay. I mean, I got you. Okay. So I have a question question about violence, gun violence, and just violence as a whole in the city. We have an issue that's going on. We've been going on like this gunshots ringing everywhere. Everything is going on. Gunshots on this side, that side, everywhere. Like there's so much going on. I know that
Mhm.
you are an advocate of guns, but how do you propose that those the gun laws are the gun control is controlled? Guns are controlled.
So I think a lot of the guns that have been hitting our streets lately, especially people with multiple convictions prior, they weren't really acquired through an FFL. A lot of times they're stolen. So the law that requires your guns to be in a safe, I'm a big fan of. Just because someone breaks into your house when you're not here and your gun's unsecured, that gun's going somewhere else, isn't it? And it's not going to be used in a very. It's going to be used to hurt someone. That's on your head, especially as a gun owner. That is your responsibility when you bought it. Um, I think we really need to be more cognizant as a community, though. Around here, not so much, but the last few mass shootings, the people who went around and were the shooters actually were broadcasting it. They were saying things that people should have picked up on and should have called on. FBI on two of those instances said these guys were on our radar ahead of time. I think a lot of it is our gun laws that we currently have are not being enforced. One thing that I did like on the national level gun law bill that passed, it's probably the only thing that I liked, was the closing of the boyfriend loophole. That is, if you're dating someone, you're not living together, and you get into a fight, a physical altercation is not considered domestic abuse. That just changed. It is now domestic abuse, and you are barred from owning a firearm. But a lot of it is we need to actually enforce what we already have. So many gun laws go ignored or plead down, where it should be a felony, but you're only catching a misdemeanor. And I don't think that needs to happen. I think that's a practice that needs to stop, especially with firearms.
That's it, and make sure that the cops and the FBI follow up.
Yeah.
So, is that a thing that you are wanting to do? Is on that level is fund more for the police, give more funds to the police.
Yes. And I've been talking about our local police department here and how it eats up about half of our general fund, and yet we don't really see it. When Mr. Mays was on your show, I asked him how many patrolling officers we have. He said about 80 something. When I did the math on overall officers, it came out to be 1 per 1,000 residents. That's overall. That's including your desk officers. That's including your investigators and your detectives. So it actually breaks down to be a lot more than that, a lot more residents than that. Your investigations here probably needs to be buffed. We need to give them more money to follow up on these leads, on these behavioral health crises that people are reporting to see. Number one, is it something that is valid? Number two, do we get involved right now? Well, it should always be yes, we get involved right now. Please send an officer. Because if someone's having a behavioral health crisis and they have access to a firearm, it's always going to end up bad, isn't it? I mean, they could hurt themselves, they could hurt others, or they could just cause chaos, period.
Do you think that? Do you think that police officers' wages need to be higher as well?
I think we need more of them. So the biggest thing in Flint for our officers leaving is number one, retirement. Well, you can't tell them not to retire. You've done your time. Number two is your workload. And number three is wages. I think we can bring the workload down by hiring more officers. But you've got one or the other currently. You either raise their wages or you bring on more officers. And then you adjust from there. But with half the city's budget coming from the state itself, I don't foresee, even with me fighting tooth and nail and the state senator fighting tooth and nail and city council screaming, the state legislature giving too much more money to Flint until they see results.
Do you do you think that they should have different types of training as far as like conflict resolution training and things like
Yes.
that, mental health training and things like
Mhm.
that? Because there are so many things going on, as far as like mental health, which I'm a huge advocate of, and I don't think that they have enough training in it.
Yes.
What would be your plans into doing something like that?
You could break it down into different departments within that department. So you get a call of, hmm?
Oh, I was just saying, oh, she had just said something like that. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was,
You break it down into different departments. So you get a call of there's a possible behavioral health incident. You don't send your patrolling police, you send your behavioral health experts to, number one, assess the situation, see if the person is okay, see if they're okay to be escorted home, or if they need to go into a psych hold. That is something you can do, or social services like we have for kids. A parent messes up, and you're not having a police officer knock on your door, right? You have a licensed uh, child protective services officer that comes to your door. And you can break it down further than that. So if you divide the workload more to where you have people who are particularly trained for a certain situation, you're going to avoid a lot of the messes that we've been coming into.
Jasmine Wadrina asks, "Do you support gun reform?"
Gun reform, without what we have currently being enforced, I can't say I am.
Why?
How am I going to find the problem, or how am I going to address a problem if I don't know where that problem is? So we have felons cannot own firearms. We have domestic abusers cannot own firearms. Okay, we have, if you are addicted to alcohol, if you've used marijuana recently, you cannot have a firearm. If you've had a behavioral health break in so long, you cannot have a firearm. So then how are all these people getting them? Where's the break? Where's the disconnect? That's what we have to find and we have to close. But until we actually find that, then you're just looking through a haystack and throwing so much hay at a problem until you find that needle. And then you've reduced what normal law abiding folks who have never purchased a gun to harm anyone, who have never thought of harming anyone, now they do not have the ability to pick one up if they so desire or if they feel threatened enough.
You don't think that they would be able to get a gun because of
Just how restricted it could go if you keep on putting new laws and new laws and new laws and things don't change.
so how do you propose that those change in order for a gun
We
to happen?
we have to start enforcing what we currently have, which means a lot more manpower and a lot more diligence on it. Like I said, we've had several people recently who've shown all the signs of this guy is about to break. This guy is posting, I'm going to go shoot someone, and no one followed up. We need follow up. We need to start following through. The
And
tools are there. We're just not using them.
how does that happen? How does the follow up happen? How does the follow up happen from you at your level? How does the follow up happen?
At my level, I don't think we can force the cops to do anything. They fall under the governor. So everything executive, I can put laws into place. I can vote for laws. I can vote for initiatives. But unless someone is actually willing to go out there and do the work, I can't go out and be a cop. That's not the job I'm applying for.
So there's nothing that would could happen on the state level.
I don't honestly believe so unless it's just another law. But until you find what isn't working, another law isn't going to fix anything.
You don't think you know what you don't think you know what's not working or what hasn't worked?
No, I don't. Like I said,
Even down to to your point of the laws not being
if people are posting,
all
you can't have say a cop sitting there monitoring all social media at all times. You can maybe fund a police department or a state department to come up with a trawler to look for things like that. Something that just looks through social media posts within a given area. But how much of that goes into your Fourth Amendment right of privacy too, to not just be looked in on?
have you seen the voting record of our current state rep?
Yes. Well, what there is of it, yes.
Have you seen any of seen her past record of her being a state rep? What do you think of our current state rep?
I've said it before to you. I don't think we really have one. Over what 200 missed votes, a lot of them could have really impacted Flint in a positive way.
What will you do different that she has not done or has done? What will you do
I mean,
different
the
that will
simplest thing that I do different is actually show up. Um, and aside from, actually, I got her literature right here. Aside from using her little office to promote herself, to do her campaign, I do something like that every 6 months at best. But everyone in the district would receive a postcard with my email, my office phone, my Facebook, a way to get in contact with me. It, I'm I'm asking a group of people who, just looking through a lot of your comments here, some like me, some don't. I'm asking for votes here, and I cannot just go absentee on you
why should we vote for you?
because I'm offering to do things different. Things in Flint have been done a certain way for close to what 30 years now, and Flint hasn't gotten better. I'm going to try to come at these issues from a different perspective in a different way. I want to try to come at it from enriching people's lives and the ability to just to provide for yourself so we don't have as many of these problems, because someone who's content, someone who's got things in their life that they're actually, you go to work for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, you do it 5 days a week, you bust your hump, you just want to go home and relax, and you want to enjoy the things that you bought with that labor. You don't see those sort of people going out as often. You don't see those sort of people committing as many crimes. I want to try to cut it off from the beginning without damn it, words. I want to try to make it to where that's prevented in the first place through better education, giving kids a chance, through having a livelihood that doesn't rely on, I hope a cop's not behind me today. Because that's a lot of what we have around here. Most of the jobs in this area were provided by GM, and when GM pulled out, the area collapsed. The entire foundation was built on one flagstone that got ripped out, and now the foundation's broken. We have to rebuild ourselves up.
How do you propose that you are going to stay? What are you going to do, and how are you going to stay on top of the issues that relate to us here? Because some of them you weren't privy to the knowledge of. Like the John Fleming case, you didn't know too much about that, or the budget that got passed by. How are you going to stay on top of those things in order to continue to or to be able to help us in Flint?
So lately, I've been putting a lot of time into the research into other things, just trying to compare, and that was a mistake, obviously. So to be on top of things here, it's as easy as if you see something, tell me. But otherwise, I'm just gonna have M Live and our local news is up. I've been going to our city council meetings. I've been keeping up with that. When I can't go in person, then I have it up on YouTube. That's how do I feel about redistricting that put us in this position? I feel like a lot of people just got their voices cut off. Anyway, so yes, keeping up with current events and asking people what they think needs to be addressed, what needs to be talked about, is how I will do it. When elected, like I said, everyone's going to get a postcard in the 70th district that has my contact information.
Okay. Um, Anything else as it relates to how you can keep up with as of right now, as opposed to just M Live and those
I've
things?
been, oh, I call you periodically, as you know. I go, Mr. Tara, what the hell's going on here? I do the same with other people. It isn't just the news because you don't get everything on the news. It's keeping your ear down to the community, right? You have to go talk with people. And that's what I've been trying to do. A few things slipped by me. I didn't realize that,
Mhm.
yeah.
Have you been out, like door to door and canvassing and going out?
Yeah, I did try door to door in my neighborhood. It didn't work out too well. So I'm going further out. So when one gentleman did answer the door and I start talking to him, I kid you not, he goes, "So are you with the Flint police or not?" "No, sir." "Oh, you look like a detective." Because I was wandering around in a polo and yeah. Uh, so I can't do that in my neighborhood apparently. I'm going further out and further abreast.
So Chia's question, I think, didn't get all the way. Her question was, "How do you feel about the redistricting that put us in this position to not have the 34th district?"
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of people got cut off because you're either now everyone's squashed into the 70th, or three or four other districts took chunks, took parts, and now those people are not as represented as they would be when we had two districts covering this area.
So there
How
was
do I feel about it? I really think that Flint was ignored and cut out of a conversation. Instead of having two representatives at the state level, you only get one now.
so there was a. I'm trying to go back. I apologize. There's a comment from William Hammond. He said, "Sorry, I missed the chat earlier when you were discussing this. The state already has tax incentives for cities like Flint. They're administered through the Michigan Economic Development Commission. Flint has benefited from them. The problem is they're applied project to project. Flint needs to have a holistic approach to econ development, an entire plan of restoration, not a project here and there. When the state under Governor Snyder eliminated the single business tax and then replaced it with something else, cities especially were hard hit. With that elimination, Michigan did in fact become competitive with other states' taxation rates. It has not benefited Michigan one iota. All it did was increase the tax burden onto cities. Flint, over the last 20 years, has applied for at least twice that I'm aware of tax increment finance authority. This is where the district agrees to tax themselves and receives all of the revenue for the public use within their district. These are commonly used in business districts that where the businesses can see the benefit. of say new street sidewalks, lighting, etc. The state has to agree to that. As I said, I know that Flint has twice applied for those funds, and Republican controlled legislatures have stopped them from happening. This is entirely a partisan action. There will be no effect on the state revenue on that the state revenue wise. Yet they would not approve. I cannot support any Republican for any office anywhere in this state because of the totally partisan actions of the Republican controlled legislatures and governors being stopping from helping themselves. That was a lot, but I get it. I'm saying there was another one. I thought she had one as well, but maybe I was so sorry, y'all. I thought I was. Um, I don't see it. If you did, Chia, I'm sorry. I was trying to find it. Um, how would you be an effective advocate for Flint when you would be part of the majority that does nothing to help?
Well, I've already
Um,
said something that isn't going to make my the people in my party very happy with me, which was the abortion thing. I think I've just shown that I'm willing to break with them when I think it benefits Flint. I don't have to vote their way. When it comes to being on that floor, that vote is my vote to give, and it's given to me by the people of Flint, which I have to honor.
if you if you were not running for this seat, what would you like to see happen from a state representative? Keep in
What I'd
mind,
like to see happen,
yeah.
I'd like to see the city, state, and county working together. I'd like to see the left hand talking to the right hand. Because as it is, so often we get city council fighting within itself, then fighting the mayor, and your state rep will not hear anything from any of them that's meaningful, and neither will your senator. Your county is, well, it's just not in any of these conversations lately, is it? I'd like to see both county and city council sit down, have a vote, and say we can change our venue once a quarter and include all these other parties. I'd love to see a large open forum without all the arguing and the bickering that happens, to just sit down where your state rep and your state senator will brief the county board and the city council and the mayor all at once as to the happenings going on at state. Then they'll say what they're trying to do. And then it'll go to the mayor and city council, telling the two state representatives, your state rep and your senator, what they feel they need. Then it'll go to the county and they will do the same.
So, Chia, I think great minds think alike because that was kind of the question I was getting ready to ask. So my question was, what I was getting ready to ask was, if in fact you don't get in the seat, what are you going to continue to do for the city, being that you live here? And so Chia's question also is, what are you committed to work on, and who are you committed to working with if you lose? That's not wishing a loss on you, but it's trying to see your dedication.
So there's a few people I want to reach out to, and I'd rather not call them out here. But there are a few nonprofits that I've really liked, that have really impressed me. And then, like I said, I've been working with a few people offline uh, to contact the EPA and really try to force them to do an environmental impact study, and more importantly, the health impact study for the most recent water from Lockhart. I want to see the city get cleaned up, and I want to see Flint start to prosper. And the way we do that is, number one, we have to fix our image. And if every 6 to 10 years we're having a water crisis, that's not going to really fix our image, is it?
So, what are your plans, though? You personally, if you don't get to see, what are you going to continue to do to help them prosper? What are you going? What are you? What's
I'm going
your
to continue to work on that EPA angle And then, like I said, there's a few nonprofits. I spoke with someone day before yesterday, and I'm going to be doing a donation to him. I want to start donating my time more, and see if he'd be willing to take me on as a part timer doing what he needs, as well as things that like the was it Safe Outdoors, Safe Outside. I tried volunteering with them. I haven't heard back, unfortunately. I am trying to get out there and be more impactful in my community with because a lot of these nonprofits, a lot of times, yes, they need money, but they also need manpower, and I'm trying to provide that.
There are some nonprofits that I like. There are some that I don't like. I am just not the person that likes the. And I've said this a million times before. I hate the photo ops. I hate the ones that every time you see them, it's just a photo, but you don't
Hmm.
see that they're the work that they're really putting down and they're doing in the community. They have this long list of all these things supposedly that they're doing or whatever, but if it really work for real, it's just a photo op. You won't be that, will you? You won't be our photo op, or you won't be going in there taking photo ops and just putting it on there. We need some work,
No,
real work to be put down here. We need some real boots to the ground. We need some real people that are going out here.
you're.
We're going to advocate for Flint and really get us where we once were and beyond. We need to
Mhm.
prosper. We need that, and that's exactly what we need. We don't need more hot air. We don't need more of
No.
those other things that
And as for a photo opera, no. Um, my thoughts on charity and doing nonprofit work, donation work, is you do it because you want to do it, not because you're getting something out of it.
She would like to know what work does the nonprofit represent. She respects that you don't want to name them, but what work do they represent?
So the one that I'm trying to do a donation to helps girls who've been trafficked, and I really want to see if he would take my help in just a me being there, hands, boots on the ground. What do you need? I'll even go get him coffee if he asks, because he can continue doing the work he's already doing, or if he has something else for me to do. But that's on him, and I do need to bring it up to him and ask him, but that's after the race.
Yeah. So we have a lot of things in there. You're welcome to. There are a lot of things that we need in Flint, and you know what? But most of all, and I say this all the time, we just need, we need real people that's going to do real work and that just wants to see real things happen here in Flint that's going to be beneficial to us. I know
Mhm.
that again, I know it was uncomfortable, and again, we talked about that. And I told you, I was, it's probably going to be a lot more uncomfortable this time, but that's what we need because we need to know the real answer. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate when you say I don't know or I haven't seen it. I do appreciate that.
I mean,
And that is the best answer, but it's an honest answer, and I
I'll,
appreciate honesty, right? And I respect honesty. So I do appreciate and respect that you said that.
I
However,
keep on saying things that I said last time, and the big thing with me saying I don't know is there is nothing more dangerous to politics or in politics than a politician who thinks they know everything.
yeah. And then just taking the constructive criticism and then hearing the people out, and hearing what they have to say and how there are a bunch of people that are on here today that didn't see the last time that you were on here, but
Mhm.
would like to see those things and hear those things that you said. But also in even in that is just taking it in and making sure that you are putting in the work that they are asking to do because in essence you will be working for them. So they want to see that, people want to see you out there. They want to see you doing the work. They want to see you they want to see you out there with the people, whether it makes you uncomfortable or not, but just to see that you are willing to get out here and willing to do the work with us and willing to be put your boots to the ground and just grind just as hard as we do. Because there are a lot of people that are here in Flint or people like me that don't even live in this, that advocate very hard for it. They want to see you get better. They want to see you do better. Like all of the things that we do in Flint, it doesn't affect me personally. It affects me personally because these are, I mean, they're my family. Even 6 degrees of separation makes us all family, right? And so they make us their family. And so Flint is my family. And I want to see Flint be better. I want to see Flint. prosper. I want to see Flint be back to where it should be, and not us getting pushed out of our homes and pushed away and poisoned just so they can have our property and our land. Right? So we want somebody that's going to be there to help us get back to where we need to be so that we are comfortable and we are safe. So that means, um, maybe it does mean gun reform. I don't know. Maybe it does mean um, more public schools and less charter schools. I don't know. I don't have a child in school anymore, but education is very important to me, and I don't think that everybody needs. College is not for everyone, so I think that we do need charter schools. I think that we need more places for people to learn how to do things that we need here. We need more businesses that can open up. We need more small mom and pops and things like that. So we are sufficient, and we don't need Walmart. We don't need Kroger. We can do it ourselves. We need to do that. And we want to do that. We want to get back to that. We have to have the opportunity to do that. We also want to be able to have housing, affordable housing, better housing. We don't want to live in a little sugar shack. Everybody doesn't want a tiny home. Some people want big homes. Some people want land. But we need to be able to have that. We don't need to zone in to say that we are constricted to this little box or we can't live over here because this green space or whatever the case may be. We need to be able to have it like we had it. We want it like we want it. It's our city and we need to take it back. And we need somebody that's going to be in those higher positions that's going to help us do that and to take it back. That's exactly what we need. Somebody that's going to listen and willing to do the work. Like a lot of these people that are asking these questions are people that are out there doing the work. And so we want somebody in these positions, in these top positions that's going to do the work with us. So, if I have anything to say as I'm taking from here, I implore you to just continue to look at the things that are going on in relation to the city, so that when they are asking and things are asking, they are asking for things for this city that you are um, knowledgeable, right, and that you know what you can do on the state level if in fact you can get into that position. And if it can't happen on the state level, maybe that's where you, like she said, cross the aisle and talk to some other people to get it done and say, hey, this is some things that need to be done and you can work together, because shit rolls downhill, but so does sunshine. So it starts from the top and going down.
Okay.
Um,
Um, I did miss out a little bit on your first part there. Your audio went out.
oh, did it?
Yeah.
I was saying that we need people to have the boots to the ground, and a lot of these people that live here and that's on this that's in the chat haven't been on here before, and those are the things that they need to see and they need to hear. So they also need to see you out there and see you doing it, and they want to because a lot of these people that are on here are the people that are out there and they are doing the work. I'm not sure what happened, guys, with the audio. I apologize.
I hear you fine now. I think that might just be a bit delayed.
Okay. Um,
Um,
they just want to.
but one thing I can tell them to reassure them is I have yet to skip a message from anyone that has asked me anything about me running.
Yeah.
You can easily find me on Facebook. You can easily find my my email. I'll even say it again. It's trevor.berryhill@gmail.com. You can write me, and I haven't given a generic response. I've sat and I've contemplated every answer I've given. And there were times where I knew that the person asking wouldn't like my answer. But I'm not going to lie to you and BS you either. So if you have questions, and you don't have to wait for me to come onto a show, just go ahead and write me.
I do. I really, I don't know. Maybe I was saying, I don't know if you heard me, but I said I appreciate you being honest, and I appreciate you even coming on. And so, my let's see, someone just reiterated too. My mom said that she appreciated you being in the hot seat again on a platform like this. She said likewise. Your dad said the audio went off. Sorry, Dad. I'm not sure what happened. My mom said if you don't win, you can't cross the aisle. You can always cross the street. She said, words of advice, knocking on doors is your best friend. You might not have yard signs, but they don't
Yard
vote.
signs don't vote.
Yep, connect with the people.
Yes. So I'm planning on heading out again this weekend, and hopefully I get a better response than I did last time. Because that was, I had to stop for a second and laugh when that guy asked if I was a cop. Like, oh, I didn't realize. I am so sorry, sir. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah,
But it's even cool to be able to go on platforms like this, and when other people reach out, I do what I do appreciate again is that when I did reach out to you, even the first time, that you were willing to talk, and willing to reach out. You were willing to even see some things when I challenged you. So um, even the challenge that I said to you, and you said I don't know much about it, and I was like, okay, well I challenge you to see it, and I appreciate that. And so now my challenge to you is just to keep up with what's going on, so that when you do get these questions, you already know and you're ready, right? So
yes, ma'am.
yeah, because you're here
So
now. It's your home now.
now I'm gonna have to steal your show's name and just message random people. Yo, what's poppin'?
Hey, listen, ask them. Yes, it is. Ask them. They
If
ask.
you don't mind me stealing it, I'll take it.
Go for it. Hey, listen, you ask them. What's popping in your city? What's popping on your side of town? What's popping over there? What is it that I need to know? Reach out. Um, a lot of these people, I'm sure, that are in this chat, wouldn't mind you reaching out to them and asking. They
I
questions.
believe Miss
I
Wintus
don't know
would
what
give me a
y'all mind.
laundry list.
Would you
She
all
is
mind
always on my
asking
feed.
some questions? I mean, hey, listen. All I can say is each trying. We'll just see what happens, right? Winter said, "You're cool. Thanks, Trevor Berryhill."
Thank
Dad
you,
said
Miss
he
Wintus.
had fun watching you in the hot seat.
Oh, damn it.
um,
Yeah.
she has said some people are crappy, but keep going. She, I appreciate you, being so positive here. And I appreciate all of you for sitting in and joining. I absolutely appreciate you asking questions, and just seeing what's up with them and seeing what's popping with Trevor, right? So it's we do have the forum that is coming up um, on July
Next Wednesday.
at the Flint Public Library. And not only will Trevor be there, but a couple of the other state candidates will be there as well. So, everybody come out, and let's really get everybody in the hot seat. William Hammond said another way to refer to those people is to say they're scrappy. She has said, I can honestly say I don't know who I'm voting for in this race, so don't give up. It's a lot of undecided voters. Use it to your advantage.
Thank
Right,
you, Miss Chia.
right. Jasmine will drink. Jasmine, thank you again for joining us. It's always a pleasure to see your name pop up, and you coming on. Hopefully, all of these people in Chia. I don't remember seeing you in any of the other chats, and if I have not, and I just hadn't recognized you, I apologize. But I appreciate you coming on and being very interactive with us today. Terrence, if you're still on, I always appreciate you. My mom, Mr. Berryhill, Dad Berryhill, I appreciate you popping on. Hopefully you'll come on and you'll see, you'll watch more shows, not just with Trevor on. Um, um, William, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on, and everybody else, and whoever I haven't seen or I haven't acknowledged. I apologize that chat is going like this, so
Can
sometimes
I,
it's going and I can't see it. She said I have
may I
on
take a
Facebook.
moment?
I appreciate it. Chia, I don't know you I don't know you personally, but I always hear great things about you. So maybe Chia, you and I can get together, and maybe you can come on and you can talk to me about some things. You and I are actually friends on Facebook, and I want to congratulate you on your degree. Congratulations. So yes, everybody, I appreciate you all for coming in and joining us. And you know what? As always, and what I always say is, you always take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. You know that is so very important to me. So make sure that you all are eating healthy. You are drinking plenty of water, not Flint water, but drink your water. because the water is not clean. I don't care what Mayor Sheldon Neely says, that water is not clean. Do not drink it. Love on yourself. Please love on yourself, because if you can't love on yourself, you can't love on anybody else. And nobody is better than you. What's better than you? Absolutely nothing. So make sure that you loving on yourself, so you can love on other people, and you can reach out to your family and you can love on them. Take some time and go out now. The weather is nice. Even when the weather is not nice, get some fresh air. Go out, and right now while the sun is shining, get some vitamin D. Not so much today. It's a little cloudy, a little overcast. I'm not the weather girl, but it is a little overcast, cloudy out there. But when it is sunny, get out there and get you some vitamin D. Sit out there and relax. Get into nature. Sit, ground. Get your feet in there. Sit down. Relax. Meditate. Listen to some music. Go down by some water. One of my favorite places to go visit. As I always say, Stepping Stone Falls. I walk that trail and I sit by that water and I just think about things. I reflect. I just let some things go so that I can be up and be great for the day, right? If you have any issues and you need to talk to somebody, from my understanding, she is a great person to go and talk to. She's social working out. And also St. Mark's. St. Mark's has a great program for mental health. And again, I'm always an advocate of mental health, and I want everybody to take care of themselves so they can take care of each other. I love you all. I love you all, and I want to see you again next Friday. Same bat time, same bat channel, right? 6 o'clock right here on your What's Poppin'. I love you all. You have a great night. Trevor, you can stay on for a second. I love you all. Chia, I am going to hit you up. Y'all have a great weekend.